स्क्रीन पर आपका नाम आया या नहीं आया, दैट इज़ वन टैंजिबल क्रेडिट, कि आपको रेस्पेक्ट कितनी मिली, आपको रिकग्निशन कितना मिला, विच मीन्स स्क्रीन पे नाम आया लेकिन पोस्टर पे नाम आया कि नहीं आया, राइट। मीडिया में बातें हुई तो आपके बारे में बात हुई कि नहीं, जब इंटरव्यूज़ हुए, प्रमोशंस हुए तो राइटर को साथ में रखा गया कि नहीं रखा। हम स्क्रीन राइटर्स का काम तो ज़्यादा मुश्किल है, स्क्रीन राइटिंग इज़ टफर देन मेडिसिन। आपसे पूछूंगा इस देश में अच्छे डॉक्टर कितने हैं, मतलब कुछ हज़ार तो ज़रूर है, हाँ लाख में भी हो सकते हैं। अच्छे स्क्रीन राइटर कितने हैं, हाँ 500 तक नहीं गिन पाओगे, राइट। तो है ना, फिर बहुत डिफिकल्ट, राइट, ये डिफिकल्ट काम है। बट व्हेन वी वर मेकिंग ब्लैक वॉरेंट आई स्टडीड सम 20 बुक्स एंड ब्लैक वॉरेंट द बुक इज इट कवर्स 35 years of Sunil Gupta's life and we decided to make a series that covers only 4 years of his life. I don't see myself chasing something, अभी ये भी कर लेंगे वो भी करेंगे ये, no, I'm a film buff. I watch 200 movies a year, I read books, I travel. I try to live a meaningful life, I try to do things which add value to life. Black Warrant also, if you see, is that just that it has to be very, like, it has to be darker than Chintu Ka Birthday, but Black Warrant also is my effort to find hope and faith and goodness in a world that is so difficult. Writing का काम इतना lonely है, right, इतना lonely है, कोई आपके लिए ताली नहीं बजाता है, ठीक है। अगर आपकी फिल्म बन गई और वो सक्सेसफुल हुई तो शायद कुछ लोग ताली बजाएंगे, तो कितना रेयर है, राइट। हाय, माय नेम इज सत्यानशु सिंह, आई एम अ स्क्रीनराइटर एंड अ फिल्ममेकर एंड यू आर वाचिंग मी ऑन बॉलीवुड हेल्पलाइन।
Hey guys, my name is Adarsh and you're watching me on Bollywood Helpline. Today I'm in conversation with someone. He's a man behind with some of the finest projects in recent times. इनके projects की अगर मैं बात करूँ, one thing that he has done is left audience mesmerized with his writing. Joining me in conversation is he's a man you can say कि इनके गाने हो, इनके lyrics हो, इनके projects ऐसे होते हैं कि जिनको देख के audience एक बात तो ज़रूर कहती है कि क्या लिखा है. Joining me in conversation is the man behind those writings is Mr. Satyanshu Singh.
Thank you.
Welcome to Bollywood Helpline, sir.
Thank you so much.
So before I begin to my question, सबसे पहले kudos to you and a big round of applause for your projects. सबसे पहली चीज़ जो मैंने मेंशन की is about your writing. So जैसे as a writer, हर writer एक कहानी को जन्म देता है, हर कहानी की एक अपनी कहानी होती है, ऐसे ही एक writer की भी अपनी कहानी थी. What has been your journey throughout?
I come from a small town in Bihar called Munger. And I studied to be a doctor. I did MBBS from Armed Forces Medical College, Pune, and I had a job in the army. But I wanted to become a filmmaker, and I had to quit that job. It was very expensive to quit the job because army का bond था, 15 लाख रुपए का bond था, and my family didn't have any money. So about 25 of my friends contributed so that I can raise that money and come to Bombay. That's how I started my life in Bombay. I wrote poems in Udan. That was my first project. And I'd written Chintu Ka Birthday with my brother when I was very young. I was 23 when I wrote Chintu Ka Birthday. And then it was a journey of trying to make the film, which we directed the film quite late. It was not easy to get that film made. But that wait told me that anything good needs a lot of time, it needs a lot of patience, and during that time I started to kind of do different kinds of writing and teaching, and eventually after Chintu Ka Birthday I've been working in different capacity in the industry, also abroad, but finally Black Warrant is my latest work where I'm one of the showrunners and one of the directors and writers on the show.
And you have seen a whole transition as a poet. आपने काफ़ी सारी poetry भी लिखी, and then you switched to screenplay writing and writing shows and everything. So what was that one moment, I want to know, कि जहाँ पे आपको लगा कि अब मुझे सिनेमा की तरफ रुख करना, this is my time, now cinema will be my new canvas?
No, cinema was always my first love. Just that you do a lot of things on on the side, and a song that you write, chances are that it will come out, but a film that you write, chances are that you will take a long time to direct it. So I always wanted to be a filmmaker. I was in school when I had decided to be a filmmaker. Just that the journey is always full of unpredictable little episodes. But it wasn't like a moment when I decided to be a filmmaker. I think if there was a moment, it was in school, in class 10, when I told my mom that I will make films.
So, sir, now I'll speak about your projects. Two of the stalwart projects in your portfolio, that is, one is Chintu Ka Birthday and one is Black Warrant in recent times. दोनों projects में एक चीज़ that is very common, what I have noticed and I think my audience will also notice this, is दोनों बहुत ही sensitive topics पे बनी है. दोनों एक तरफ जहाँ इराक का war torn city है, country है, एक तरफ that is तिहाड़ jail based in 1980s. बट दोनों में जो कैरेक्टर्स हैं, एक तरफ अगर मैं चिंटू का बर्थडे की बात करूँ, इज़ अ वेरी इनोसेंट फैमिली जो फंस जाती है इराक के अंदर, एंड एक तरफ है ब्लैक वॉरेन जहाँ पे द कैरेक्टर ऑफ जहान कपूर, एक बहुत शाय इनोसेंट इंट्रोवर्ट आदमी, ही लैंड्स अप इन तिहाड़ जेल. सो हाउ डू यू बैलेंस दैट इनोसेंस एंड सच व्हाट टू से एक डार्क जगह की कहानी, हाउ डू यू मैनेज सर?
I think it's a great question. Yeah, I feel that craft-wise, if your protagonist is a child, it always helps. If your protagonist is a child, it helps because most people in the audience will care for the child even if you do nothing, right? And children have a sense of humor, they are innocent, they have a lot of courage also, and they have that arc of growth. But the marketing world will tell you that don't write kids as protagonists. So I think what I do is I take adults, but I make sure that their child is alive. So Chintu's father, played by Vinay Patil, yeah, it's like he's like a child. He's like a child, but he's a child who has wisdom. So he's not childish. He has the innocence of a child, but there's a wisdom. ऐसा लगता है जैसे कि realized soul है, उसको पता है कहाँ react नहीं करना है. So Black Warrant didn't start like that. Black Warrant, again, when I started working, it was a challenge that how do I find myself in this world. And then eventually, after a lot of difficulties, finally when we managed to crack the character of Sunil Gupta, played by Zahan. Again, Zahan has that innocence in his eyes and a very nice demeanor. We were very happy, and I think one reason why the series is working so well is how we have shown that jailer. Now, why I think you will find this in my subsequent works also, because I think I very strongly relate with protagonists who are like this. I relate with Ted Lasso from Ted Lasso. I relate with Jack Black's character from School of Rock. A lot of Rishikesh Mukherjee characters, Anand from Anand, who are all of them are like kids. I think not that I don't enjoy films where heroes are masculine and heroic, but I think masculinity is very stereotyped and misunderstood. The best men I have met in life are kind and warm, and they are lovely people. They are not really tough and macho people. I think it is important to celebrate that kind of masculinity in popular culture, so that ordinary people can feel like they are the protagonist of their stories. But I would love to write a protagonist who is like, say, Kabir Khan from Chak De India, or Bhuvan from Lagan, or Munna Bhai from Munna Bhai. I would love to, but you see, these are also, they also have an innocence.
Innocence in them.
Bhuvan has innocence, Munna Bhai has innocence. So yeah, it looks like I naturally gravitate towards that. I think while growing up, it was not easy. As a teenager, you have a lot of body shaming, bullying, and all your sensitive qualities are made fun of. कि अरे ये तो लड़की की तरह, ये तो लड़की की तरह. But all those feminine qualities in men actually turn out to be your superpower. You are a good dad if you are loving and caring. You are a good husband if you are kind, loving and caring, right? So I think वो थोड़ा उसको बार-बार बताना ज़रूरी है.
And as you said, you know, masculinity कभी कभी गलत पोर्ट्रे हो जाती है. There's a line in the movie Two States what Arjun Kapoor said was as a writer कि you know मैं एक ऐसी कहानी लिखूंगा स्टोरी में हीरो भले हो ना हो लेकिन स्टोरी हीरो होनी चाहिए. सो एज योर प्रोजेक्ट्स यू नो भले उन मूवीज़ या प्रोजेक्ट्स के अंदर बहुत ज़्यादा कोई ए लिस्टर्स ना हो बट दैट प्रोजेक्ट्स ए लिस्टर्स बन गए हैं आज की तारीख में. As a writer, I want to know, writers do inspire people. But personally, who has inspired you and what was that moment? I think you shared an incident of yours where you said कि you were attending this screenwriters conference, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And उस screenwriter conference
Let me tell you about it.
There was a person who was on stage.
Yeah.
And that was the moment you were like कि अब मुझे writer बनना है.
So I wanted to write, and I had written 3 feature films in medical college, and I had started to direct also. After writing 3 or 4 feature films, I had written these films without any education. I studied science all my life, and I never realized that there can be a formal education. I can sit at my home and teach myself. I must be 24 or 25, and I was new in Bombay, and SWA had their conference in Goregaon East. There's an Indira Gandhi Institute near Film City, and it was a wonderful organization it was organized very well, and there were hundreds of people. I saw a lot of good people, big names there. Abbas Tayarwala's Jaane Tu Ya Jaane Na had just released as in a few months ago or a year ago it had released, and he was on one of the panels and he started to speak, and while he spoke he mentioned things like terms like inciting incident, first act, second act, and I felt like he is talking using these technical terms. So he's assuming that all of us know what these terms are, but I don't know what these terms are. So I felt suddenly I felt deficient. I felt like, okay, I don't know stuff. So I went back home and I started reading the first book of screenwriting that I read. I started, and that journey has continued until even this morning. I was reading a book on writing by a writer. So that journey it's been more than 16 years, but that journey has continued. So in a way, my education of cinema started because someone at SWA conference mentioned something that inspired me to study on my own. And then a few years later, I started teaching. So my teaching journey is also, in a way, I owe my teaching journey to that SWA conference.
And that conference made you the professor of cinema, right? And coming back to your project, that is Black Warrant. Black Warrant is basically, it is based on a novel written on a book, non-fiction book in 2019. So I just want to know कि adapting a book into a cinema as a writer, so what do you think? Is it that easy? Because I don't think it is not like a walk in the park, you know, to adapt a book into a series or a show. So what do you think? Is it that easy, or is it as similar hard as writing a book?
Writing is always hard. It's like asking someone, is bowling in T20 easier than bowling in Test cricket? Bowling, batting, you know, these kind of professions, sports, music, these will always be difficult. So just that you have to change your approach, and you have to use different kind of skills. When you're writing an original work for the screen, you use somewhat the same things, but there are a few new things, a few things that you use which you will not use when you're writing, adapting a book. While adapting a book, I think the most important thing is that you preserve the spirit of the book. That is the most important thing. But then there are a lot of dangers. You don't want to get attached to everything in the book, and you need to be objective enough to take dramatic liberties. So I don't think it's easy, but there are a lot of merits. There are a lot of things are already laid out for you in many ways. But when we were making Black Warrant, I studied some 20 books, and because Black Warrant, the book is it covers 35 years of Sunil Gupta's life, and we decided to make a series that covers only 4 years of his life, so that we get to make more seasons, hopefully. The book doesn't have as much details for you to write an entire season. So I had to read more books and I had to do more research, and that's how. But the idea was to preserve the spirit of the book.
So he has given a hint that Black Warrant अगर आपको पसंद आई है तो there's not only one season, there are more seasons coming up. He has given a hint.
I have not committed to that, but if you've seen Black Warrant, if you've seen the final scene of the final episode, you know that the story, there's more to the story, but we'll wait for it to be officially confirmed.
Okay. And speaking about OTT platforms, what is, in today's time, OTT has become a third giant. Apart from TV, apart from cinema, OTT is the new giant. So, as a screenwriter, as a writer, do you think that since OTT has come into the picture, OTT platforms have given the writers more freedom in writing? Because there are some subjects you can't, portray or define it in a 2 hours movie. There are some subjects that need details, and there are some things that ऑडियंस को डिटेल बहुत पसंद होती है कुछ प्रोजेक्ट्स की. तो डू यू थिंक आफ्टर द OTT प्लेटफॉर्म्स आर हियर, स्क्रीन राइटर्स को और द राइटर्स को फ्रीडम मिली है? बिकॉज उन्होंने यू कैन, इट इज़ लाइक एन ओपन बुक, यू कैन use anything in OTT platforms, whether you can abuse or there are कुछ scenes ऐसे होते हैं वो सेंसर बुक काट देता है सिनेमा के अंदर, बट कुछ चीज़ें ऐसी होती है जो OTT पे you can clearly see that. What's your take on that?
Yeah, obviously, I think freedom is a big word. Ultimately, the money consideration is so important, and I don't say this with any complaint. I think it's a part and parcel of our life. Opportunities have increased, and opportunities in terms of themes, in terms of style, tone, what subject matter you choose, but opportunity also in terms of format. In fact, 15 years ago, if we had read the book Black Warrant, we would have done nothing with it, because back then series were not getting made. And Black Warrant is not a book where it's not easy to make a feature film out of it. I mean, if you do, it's like you take one story from the book and then you don't use the rest of the book. It doesn't make any sense. In order to serve the world of your story, in order to serve, in my case, the world of the Tihar jail, it is important that you look beyond the plot. And you cannot look beyond the plot when you're making a film. So series gives you that opportunity. It has definitely brought in more work, more money. One big thing that has happened is that writers who don't want to direct or who don't have the personality to direct, they can still become showrunners. Some of them, they can become senior writers, can become showrunners, who in the world of series is the director. The showrunner is actually someone whose vision is being served by everyone on the team. So that's great, because as writers now you can aim to have more creative control, more money, more respect, but it will take time. It will, just because you have a lot of options doesn't mean that every writer will start suddenly making a lot of money. It is always going to be a very difficult journey.
इसी चीज़ को मैं I'll take this further. As you said, so दो questions मेरे जहन में आते हैं. The first is, as you said, freedom is a too big word, but still you get to tell a lot of things as a writer. So currently, what do you think that the ecosystem of the content has changed in India in recent times after this OTT has came into the picture? So what is that one genre, or what is your vision? What do you see in the Indian cinema? In the next 5 years, this is the genre that will scale new heights through OTT. Or what is that content you see कि next 5 years में this is the thing that is going to work?
Yeah, I never think like that. Never, because it's a very tricky, it's a dangerous thought. I think hard work and passion and conviction will succeed. You can make a terrible film in a successful genre and get nothing out of it. So I don't think like that. I don't try to guess the market. See, no one knows. If people knew, things would be easy for everyone, but no one knows, and thank God for that. Because ultimately, what works is that there's a writer who has worked very hard on a story, on a script, and then the script is placed on the table, and people read it, and they're like, "Wow, I've never read anything like this. This is so good." And then it inspires everyone to come together. I think traditionally this has happened in like more than 1 century of cinema's history. I don't think that will ever change. So we should focus on what stories we are personally excited to tell, and then work really, really hard, like spend many, many years to craft that story. And although I feel that there should be an awareness of the ecosystem, there should be an awareness of what is working, what is not working, how is the industry responding to writing and things like those. And that's why an event like the SWA conference, the Indian Screenwriters Conference, it is such a great platform where for 3 days you have senior professionals who are talking on the stage at length on different topics, including dialogue writing, of course, lyrics writing, and I really feel that the aspiring screenwriter community, in fact, any writer who wants to feel like he or she is a part of this community, they can't afford to miss an event like this. It's very, very well curated. What a great list of people who will be coming and speaking. That's why I feel that you attend a conference like this, which happens once in 2 years, and then for the next 2 years you sit in your room and write. That is how you should approach this.
And you spoke about the hard work of writers. So one thing that I have seen, and I think most of the audience of mine and the writers who are watching this will get connect to this question, is credit.
Yeah.
Recently, I interviewed one of the finest writers. That was Anu Singh Chaudhary, who has written Grahan, Scoop, and recent Misses.
Yeah.
So when I spoke to her about this, so she said she gave a statement, and that statement really hit us. The statement was that अगर कोई फिल्म या प्रोजेक्ट अगर हिट हो जाती है, writers get overlooked, but if you see actors, directors, producers को सारा recognition मिल जाता है. हाँ, बट अगर कोई प्रोजेक्ट फ्लॉप हो जाता है तो सबसे पहला दोष राइटर के ऊपर आता है. पीपल डू अब्यूज द राइटर्स, पीपल डू अब्यूज द स्क्रीन राइटर्स कि यार ये क्या घटिया मूवी लिखी है. बट सक्सेसफुल होने के बाद राइटर्स गेट ओवरलुक्ड. राइटर्स को उतने इज्जत या क्रेडिट नहीं मिलता जो वो डिजर्व करते हैं. एंड शी ऑल्सो कोटेड दैट recently, I think you will also notice this, recently there was a big OTT giant platform who had a very massive event जहाँ पे all the shows के all the artists and everybody was present, but there was no one single writer present on that event. So do you think in today's time, after getting major success in your life, do you think still the writers are struggling to get their credits, or still the writers are struggling to get the recognition from the audience or from the fraternity?
Yeah, see, I think there are two parts of credit. One is a tangible credit. Does your name feature? Screen पर आपका नाम आया या नहीं आया? That is one tangible credit. कि आपको रेस्पेक्ट कितनी मिली, आपको रिकग्निशन कितना मिला, विच मीन्स स्क्रीन पे नाम आया लेकिन पोस्टर पे नाम आया कि नहीं आया, राइट. मीडिया में बातें हुई तो आपके बारे में बात हुई कि नहीं, जब इंटरव्यूज़ हुए, प्रमोशंस हुए, तो राइटर को साथ में रखा गया कि नहीं रखा गया. It's no secret that things are not ideal at all. But I think it's also unfortunate. I very strongly feel that when you are good to people, it is a smart thing to do. It's not only a nice thing to do, it's a smart thing to do. When you as a producer are good to your writer, you have given love and respect to the writer, you have built a relationship with the writer who will eventually fulfill your own dreams. So I think it's a poor business strategy to not give love and respect to writers. It's actually a stupid business strategy. Um, at the risk of sounding a little conservative, I also feel that because of a lot of things beyond our control, overall the standard of writing is also not great. So when films fail, mostly the writing is bad. So the writer getting blamed kind of makes sense, no? But when a film succeeds, often the film succeeds because of the star power, right? Writing is okay, but the film has succeeded. Hence, it will always be rare that the writer is getting recognition. It will always be rare. I think it also comes down to who you are as a person. I have always felt that the industry has given me a lot of love, a lot of respect, and there have been instances where things have been not great, but I think it's their loss because I'm never going to work with them. On the other hand, someone like Vikram Motwane, I'll work with him always because of the freedom and the time and the patience and the love and respect and money and credit that he has given me. You know, a lot of writers, a lot of senior writers and directors these days, you'll see, they don't share credit with their co-creators when it comes to posters and hoardings and the main titles of the show. But Vikram Motwane shared the credit with me, and I think it's deserved, it's fair, but there are a lot of people who don't do it. I think it's stupid, no? Because if you do it, you will build an ecosystem, an army of people who are always going to be with you. I think it's a slightly complex answer. The industry has to be smarter. If you can't be more sensitive, at least be smart. And writers have to work hard and earn their fair due.
So what do you think? What is that one-line solution that you think ये जो word है credit missing for the writers या recognition for the writers? What is that one-line solution do you think personally as a writer?
ऐसे कोई बहुत आसान solution नहीं है, but practically speaking, contract is the solution. Writers will have to fight for getting fair contracts. This looks like the only practical way of doing it. And for example, a writer is an HOD. So on shoot, if you are calling a writer, the writer should get the treatment of an HOD. So the hotel, the food, the transport, everything has to be at par with HODs. And if as a writer, you are getting credit, you are getting money, you are getting everything, but you have not mentioned in the contract that the writer has to be treated as an HOD on set, then the production may decide to save some cost by compromising on how they treat you, right? So ultimately, I think contract is the solution, and contracts are always difficult when you are insecure, when you are starting out, when you don't have financial freedom. Contracts are not easy to negotiate. I have a lot of pride in sharing this, that at SWA we stand for what is right in every sense, and we have a legal team that helps writers. If they want to, they can approach SWA whenever they want. There are recommendations on the website. We keep organizing events where this conference happens once in 2 years, but almost every month we organize an event where we do something, we talk about something, and we keep talking about the rights of the writers. I think with all of this, things will not be that bad. Problem is that a writer often sends his or her material on email without, like, unsolicited email. That, hi, I'm so and so, I'm attaching my script and please let me know if you're interested. By doing that, you are actually letting go of the intellectual property. And because now there's a way around it. The producer can find a way around it. Okay. So writers have to be smart and they have to be tough. They have to fight it. It's not easy, but there's no other way.
So it is all about, as you said, contract, and second thing is unity in the writers community. So SWA is organizing this conference for Screenwriters Association. So such conference when they take place. So they're like hundreds of people do attend, and you know some of the big stalwarts or some of the greatest minds, you know, you get to listen and you get to, you know, grab that opportunity to listen them and, you know, grab something out of them.
Yeah.
So what is that one advice personally from Mr. Satyanshu Singh will be to all the fellow writers out there, or to the upcoming writers who are there, why this conference is, you know, important, and why such things should be attended, you know, to learn the world of writing?
I'll give an answer no one is going to give you.
Okay.
I'll give you the most unique answer because I studied medicine and my wife is a doctor. Do you know that doctors have conferences? Almost every weekend there is some conference going on somewhere, right? Do you know that it is mandatory for doctors to have a count of how many conferences they have attended every year?
Okay.
If they don't attend conferences, their license can be revoked. Do you know this? So suppose you are practicing in Maharashtra. The Maharashtra State Health Board will give you a license to practice here, right? You have to renew the license every 5 years or so. There is a time span. And when you are renewing the license, you have to attach a proof that you have not spent these years sitting at your home and meeting patients. You have also spent time to learn and update because a doctor needs to keep updating her skills, right? So if doctors everywhere have to do it mandatorily, हम स्क्रीन राइटर्स का काम तो ज़्यादा मुश्किल है. स्क्रीन राइटिंग इज टफर देन मेडिसिन. आपसे पूछूंगा इस देश में अच्छे डॉक्टर कितने हैं? कुछ हज़ार तो ज़रूर है, हाँ, लाख में भी हो सकते हैं. अच्छे स्क्रीन राइटर कितने हैं? हाँ, 500 तक नहीं गिन पाओगे, राइट? तो है ना फिर बहुत डिफिकल्ट, राइट? ये डिफिकल्ट काम है. तो फिर यहाँ पर अपस्किलिंग जो है वो कैसे करोगे आप? क्या बार बार फिल्म स्कूल तो नहीं जाओगे, राइट? कैसे करोगे? एंड दैट्स व्हाई I don't know why people don't attend these events. It is absolutely very, very difficult for me to understand. These are the events where you actually upskill your knowledge, your craft, but you also feel belonged. Writing का काम इतना lonely है, right? इतना lonely है. कोई आपके लिए ताली नहीं बजाता है, ठीक है? अगर आपकी फिल्म बन गई और वो सक्सेसफुल हुई तो शायद कुछ लोग ताली बजाएंगे. तो कितना रेयर है, राइट? तो इस इवेंट में 3 दिन हम राइटर्स एक दूसरे के लिए ताली तो बजाते हैं, राइट? हम एक साथ में खाते हैं, हम साथ में हंसी मजाक करते हैं. कितने नए लोगों से आप मिलते हो. सो एंड आई ऑल्सो फील दैट if it was not for the conference all these years, perhaps I would not be motivated to work for SWA. Today I'm part of the executive committee and I'm working for SWA. Hopefully I'm contributing. It is because these events tell you that you belong to a community. So कल को SWA जो रन करेंगे उनको हम इन्हीं कॉन्फ्रेंसेस से ही तो ढूंढ पाएंगे ना, right? So I think it's very, very important that we do these conferences because screenwriting is tougher than medicine.
That is something really unique, and what you shared, जो future SWA का है वो conference से ही मिलेंगे. So it is an appeal from our side कि please do attend such conference. No matter आप आओ इस conference में, but एक चीज़ ज़रूर है, you will take memories with you, as so said. And you are here, and अगर मैं बात AIB की ना करूँ, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. For your kind information, sir has been the mentor of AIB's first draft. So sir, AIB is something that during our childhood, I think if I'm speaking of this 10 years back, 2014 के time, when AIB was at its peak, AIB was something, एक different approach था उनका towards comedy. उनको mentor करना, there was Tanmay Bhatt on one side, Gursimran Khamba, Ashish Shakya, Rohan Joshi, and many others. I mean, today some of the finest comedians or finest sketch writers we got from AIB. And personally, all the 4 founding members of AIB, there are millions of fans out there. So how was that journey, mentoring AIB?
So I didn't mentor AIB. Basically, I didn't mentor any of the content that you have seen.
Okay.
I was in charge of the long form. I was in charge of the feature films, the series that AIB intended to produce. Because I know nothing about sketch writing, I have not made too many short films. I don't know anything about stand-up comedy. I'm a long form writer, and my job was to build a team and a bank of scripts which can be made into films and series. So I was at AIB for about 2.5 years, and I was kind of heading the long form development. So Tanmay and all, they are friends. I never mentored them. Very intelligent people, very sensitive people also, and I've learned so much from them. And when AIB became a success, they wanted to expand into long form, and that is when I joined them. So I joined officially. I joined AIB only around end of 2015. By then, AIB had already become iconic.
It was on their prime.
Yes. And we were developing a lot of stuff. Chintu Ka Birthday was produced by them, and there was a series that we were making. Unfortunately, things didn't work out, and that plan for long form content didn't really materialize. But it was so much fun working there with them, and I'm still very close with them, and it's been a wonderful journey. My brother, though, directed some of the earliest videos of AIB, like Honest Diwali, Honest Wedding. Yeah. My brother directed those sketches, and Tanmay used to ask me, "तू कब आएगा यार? तू कब काम करेगा हमारे साथ?" Finally, it happened when I started First Draft, which was a long form screenwriting residency.
That was something really great. You were one of the luckiest person, to get associated to AIB. Us time pe, it was something really great. And coming towards the end now, hypothetical situation में अगर मैं आपको दूँ कि there's only one genre that you can write it only for the rest of your life, what that genre would be?
It will be something like Chintu Ka Birthday, where the setting is very unique, almost fresh and original. You can't imagine that an Indian film can be set in that kind of setting. But the characters are human beings who are very, very endearing, who are very warm and loving people. Because I believe there's a lot of power in love, there's a lot of power in goodness. We are limited by our own, the evil side in us and the world around us. But you have to choose. I will choose. So maybe I would write Ted Lasso. I would write Munna Bhai. See, all of these will fall into this description that I said. Heartfelt, funny comedy dramas set in a world that's very unusual, a gangster in a hospital, something like that. So I think the setting thing is coming from my craft and my love for cinema, and the characters is coming from the kind of life I've lived and the people I grew up with and my family and my parents, my grandparents. I think there's a lot of power in such characters, and I can actually make a career out of just writing that. Black Warrant also, if you see, is that just that it has to be very, like, it has to be darker than Chintu Ka Birthday, but Black Warrant also is my effort to find hope and faith and goodness in a world that is so difficult.
And after achieving so much success in your life, is there something else yet to achieve, or is there still a dream project that's running in your mind and you want to write it and you want to see that dream project on screens?
See, frankly, I feel the success that I've achieved is, I'm glad and I'm thankful, but I don't think it's something extraordinary. I think it's okay. I think I'm on a journey, and I hope good things continue to happen. I won't say that I have accomplished a lot. It's also because I work very hard. I wrote my first film some 18 years ago. So I think I work very hard, and I think people like us deserve more. So I have a feeling that this is just the beginning. There are a lot of stories that you want to tell. A lot of stories. There are some stories which are very, very special for me. But they are not ready yet. There are stories I've been working for many years, but they are not ready yet. If they were ready, I would be chasing everyone in this industry with those scripts. So, when a producer calls me after watching Black Warrant and they ask me, do I have something to pitch? I think everything takes its time. Black Warrant is 4.5 years of work for me. I think these things take time. And in the end, it's worth it. It absolutely, you feel awesome that you put in 4.5 years of your life, you created Black Warrant. It feels awesome.
It's like hard work pays off.
Yeah, hard work, patient, persistent hard work pays off. So, to answer your question, there are a lot of stories. I still feel it is just the beginning. But this is something very personal, very subjective. I don't see myself in a rat race. I don't see myself chasing something. ये भी कर लेंगे, वो भी करेंगे, ये भी. No. I'm a film buff. I watch 200 movies a year. I read books. I travel. I try to live a meaningful life. I try to do things which add value to life. And I write every day. And occasionally I direct. And occasionally something comes out. I think it is okay. I think I'm very comfortable in this space where I feel that I don't really need to go anywhere. I'm already where I wanted to be.
So is there any what can I say, a dream कि मुझे एक बार इस एक्टर के लिए या इस एक्ट्रेस के लिए एक बार कोई कहानी या स्क्रिप्ट तो जरूर लिखनी है? What is that one?
हाँ, ये क्वेश्चंस थोड़ा मैं ऐसे सोचता नहीं हूँ, बट जब भी कोई मेरे से ये पूछता है ना, तो मुझे विद्या बालन का नाम याद आता है हमेशा. जब मैं डर्टी पिक्चर देख रहा था ना गेटी में, बैंड्रा में, वो द परफॉर्मेंस वो देखकर मुझे लगा था यार इनके साथ काम करने का अगर मौका मिल जाए. ऑल्दो बहुत लोग हैं. इरफान जब थे तो मुझे लगता है हर किसी का सपना होगा कि उनके साथ काम करना है. बहुत सारे एक्टर्स हैं, बहुत सारे स्टार्स हैं. मतलब मैं कोई इंटेंशनली बिग नेम्स के साथ काम नहीं करता हूँ, वैसा नहीं है. मैं बड़ा खुशी काम करूँगा अगर बिग नेम्स मेरे साथ काम करना चाहेंगे तो. बट हम वैसे सोचते नहीं हैं यार. हम लोग मतलब मैं तो ऐसे बिल्कुल नहीं सोचता हूँ. एक कहानी है, वो मुझे कहनी है, उसका एक ड्राफ्ट मुझे ख़त्म करना है, उसके लिए मुझे रोज़ राइटिंग करनी है. जब वो ड्राफ्ट ख़त्म हो जाएगा तो मुझे 2 डिसीजन में से एक लेना है. या तो मुझे उस ड्राफ्ट को रीराइट करना है या मुझे एक नई कहानी में काम शुरू करना है. राइट. बस यही करके एक दिन निकल जाता है. मेरा एक थ्योरी है कि सचिन तेंदुलकर को मैन ऑफ द मैच का अवार्ड मिला है और पार्टी हो रही है. सब आए हैं, बीसीसीआई के टॉप बॉसेस भी आ गए हैं और इंडिया जीत भी गई है मैच और मीडिया में हर तरफ तारीफ हो रही है. रात के 9 बज रहे हैं और पार्टी चल रही है. उस पार्टी में लोगों ने घेरा हुआ है तेंदुलकर को. कि तेंदुलकर के दिमाग में ये नहीं चल रहा है कि आज मैंने कैसा खेला, मैंने कहाँ गलती की, मैं क्या बेटर कर सकता था, अरे मैं तो कमाल हूँ, अरे मैं तो मैन ऑफ द मैच हूँ, अरे मैंने इंडिया को जिता दिया, अरे मुझे इतने पैसे भी मिल गए, मुझे ये अवार्ड भी मिल गया, मेरा ये इतना वहाँ मैन ऑफ द मैच था, अच्छा पिच कैसा था, अगला गेम कैसा होगा. ये उसके दिमाग में नहीं चल रहा है. उसके दिमाग में चल रहा है मैं इस पार्टी से कैसे भागूँ जिससे कि सुबह 6 बजे नेट्स पर खड़ा हो जाऊँ. ये उसके दिमाग में चल रहा है. कल को जीवन मौका देगा तो मैं तेंदुलकर से पूछूंगा कि मेरा ये थ्योरी करेक्ट है कि नहीं. आई थिंक इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट वी वर्क लाइक दैट. कि ये जो शोर है ना, इसके बावजूद कल सुबह मैं अपनी राइटिंग कैसे करूँ, दैट इज़ द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग. तो उतना ही सोचता हूँ मैं.
बट क्या सोच है. एंड लास्टली बिफोर वी कंक्लूड दिस इंटरव्यू, आई जस्ट वांट you as a professor of cinema, a piece of advice that you gained from all those years of hard work and writing, to my fellow writers or my upcoming writers who are looking themselves to be a writer. So what is that one piece of advice you want to say out there, how important it is to write or how easy or difficult it is to be a writer?
If I have to choose one advice, it is that it's going to take many years. It's going to take 15 to 20 years of regular writing to reach anywhere. If you are thinking or hoping that you will do it quickly as a shortcut, it won't happen. It doesn't happen. It happens if you are extremely brilliant, which most people are not. Most of us are not that brilliant. And even then, I think brilliance only takes you, as far. So the only advice is that you cannot quit. If you stay in the race, you will win. So stay in the race, and staying in the race is a big advice, because stay in the race means you have to write every day. Stay in the race means you need to have patience, that you should continue for 15-20 years. सोचो अगर आपने 14वें साल में गिव अप कर दिया, अभी तो आप पहुंच रहे थे, राइट? And stay in the race also means make sure you have a good relationship with money, your expenditures are low, you do something so that you sustain yourself. Make sure you have emotional support, make sure your family is with you, make sure you take care of your physical health and mental health. Only then you will stay in the race, otherwise you will quit, right? So stay in the race and don't quit is the advice.
So that is a great advice what sir gave. And finally I'll conclude. I think जो भी information मुझे आज मिली है, there's something, many things to learn from this. And as sir said, there are still many things. 15-20 साल तो at least लगेंगे. It is all about continued writing, and I hope we get some of the great writers in this conference, and some of the great minds who will run the screenwriters conference ahead. So that's it from my side. I hope you like this conversation, and if you like this conversation, make sure you hit the like button, leave your comments in the comment section, and for more such interesting videos and beat down updates, do follow Bollywood Helpline.